Hi, I'm Tony Nichols, and welcome to Chamber Chat. Hi, welcome to this edition of Chamber Chat, a program put together by the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce to keep you informed on what's going on at your chamber and in your community. And speaking of community, we have with us Amy Luppens with United Way. Welcome to the program, Amy.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Tell us what you do with United Way.
Well, I'm with United Way of the Lower Eastern Shore. We cover Wicomico, Worcester, Somerset, and Dorchester counties. And to just sum it up briefly, we are an organization that connects community resources with community needs. So we have a really big impact here on the Eastern Shore, and we focus in the areas of education, financial stability, and health. So our goal is to make sure the people in our community get that hand up when they need that help. Instead of, we don't give handouts. We help transition people, and we offer our own programs like Imagination Library, the Community Connection Program in partnership with Salisbury School, and we partner with area organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, American Red Cross, to make sure everyone in our community has access to the services they need.
You made an interesting point there, I think, and a very valid point that we need to just reiterate. It's not a handout, it's a hand up. Because there's value in that individual or that individual or organization is bringing value to us. So anything that we can do as a community to help them is certainly a hand up, not a handout.
Absolutely.
I agree with that 100%. This is a pretty big year for you guys.
It is. We're celebrating a birthday.
Yeah.
We have been in business helping people for 70 years now. We started in 1944 as a community fund because people recognized the need to bring resources together, to bring all of the local nonprofits together to make a difference. And we've been really successful and built a lot of trust in the community over the past 70 years. And actually, I think it was in the 1970s we transitioned into United Way, right. And we've been covering our 4-county area for quite some time now.
Yeah, I'm sure, as you said, pulling together the local nonprofits to better serve the community. It's more, much like we've done with the chamber in our restructure, the cross-pollinate to know what the other organizations are doing, how we can help another network within the chamber. I see the United Way in a very similar vein in that you're pooling those resources.
Right.
Was education a piece right up front, or was that something that came in later?
Well, educational programs have always been a focus of our United Way. We are transitioning to look at the overall impact of the educational programs. Rather, I think traditionally we serve programs like Salisbury Horizons, which is a mentoring program. We serve some after-school programs. We partner with different programs here and there, and they're all doing wonderful things. They're showing us that they're making a measurable difference, and I know you've been part of the Community Impact Committee. We can see the differences that these programs are making in people's lives. We are looking at it more from on a larger scale now to say, combined, what are all these programs doing to move children towards graduation, to increase the graduation rate, to increase the literacy rate in our community. So it's a really exciting time to be a part of United Way and to be in our community because all of these programs are doing wonderful things independently, but we know one organization alone is not going to change the community. We have to work together and we have to know what everyone else is doing in order to make that impact.
Right, you talked about the community impact piece of United Way. What a lot of people may not know It's just not. It's not just an organization that collects funds and has a campaign fundraiser, but there are metrics in place to determine how those funds, once distributed, have been used, what kind of return, the value that organization was then able to bring back to the community. So it's not just an open checkbook for someone to get money if they need money.
Absolutely. We don't hand out money.
Right.
And we have a very, very strong responsibility, fiduciary responsibility to our donors. People know when they give that $1, that $5, the $10 out of their paycheck, they're trusting us to make sure it's going into a program that's making a difference. Right. And we have had a long-standing history of doing just that. If it weren't for United Way, the programs here on the Eastern Shore would suffer a tremendous impact. They would be devastated.
Sure. I know in my involvement, there are a lot of organizations across the board that are impacted, but healthcare is a big one, is a big area of focus or a big area of need where the United Way supports. Can you speak to how the United Way and the organizations that they support ultimately help the community?
Sure. We make sure everyone in our community has access to the health services that they need, whether it's individuals who need hospice care and don't have insurance or are underinsured, and I know a lot of changes are taking place with the Affordable Health Care Act, but there are still people who are falling through the cracks and need that critical service or prescription assistance. They're choosing between paying their rent or paying for their prescriptions. And for some people, that extra help that they can get is the difference between making it and not making it.
The next question I wanted to talk about was the financial impact that you guys make on the community, but not only necessarily the financial impact, but the stability that you bring to a lot of people, a lot of organizations that might not otherwise be there.
Our financial stability programs are in place to transition individuals and families to self-sufficiency. So again, it's about giving that handout, giving the hand up, not the handout.
So how do companies benefit by being a part of the United Way?
Well, it's the companies benefit, the employees benefit. It's about being given that opportunity to give back, to help. I know a lot of people in our community are working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. They're at home raising their kids. They don't have time to go out and volunteer, but they might be able to give $1 a paycheck. And that $1 a paycheck adds up. And this past year, we surpassed our campaign goal of $1.6 million. And that is because people are taking the time to fill out that pledge form at work. It makes a huge difference, and a lot of local companies are really turning it into a company culture of giving back. And they're one great example is Interstate Container. That is what they are known for in the community, is giving back, and they've brought United Way in to help them do that.
The idea of asking people to support an organization like the United Way, I don't think could be any better located than right here in the middle of Delmarva, because it's a community that truly does care about the community. There's a certain degree of pride that when you talk to someone that is from here, me being the come here that I am, and I'm developing that pride as well. Where are you from? I'm from the Eastern Shore. So along with that pride comes the willingness, I think, to support programs like the United Way to give back to the community.
Well, I am from here, and I love working for this organization and just all of the volunteers. It really is humbling to see the impact and the amazing things that people who are just willing to give the time or the resources are doing in our community.
Well, Amy, we're glad you're here too, and thank you for joining us on Chamber Chat.
Thank you.
We'd like to give you an opportunity now to take a look at some of the upcoming events with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Well, welcome back to Chamber Chat. Joining us now is Cathy Townsend, a member of the Education Network with the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Cathy, thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of people think that, or may think, that the Chamber of Commerce is just all about business and advocacy and all those things, but there's a piece in that education piece that really sets up all the other areas when we're dealing with our youth.
It certainly does, and I've been thankful to be a part of the Education Network Committee. Our purpose is to be able to do anything that we can as a committee to promote the K-16 education in Wycomico County. And so we have lots of different initiatives going on. And when I say K-16, K-12 is our public education, sure. And then, of course, the 13 to 16 is our community colleges and our universities. So it's a great committee.
So you've got a lot of initiatives going on. Let's talk about some of the activities that, I mean, maybe things that you discuss, and because you wouldn't think of an education network as a business meeting with the Chamber of Commerce. So what kinds of things do you guys talk about in the meetings, and then let's dig into some of those initiatives you were talking about.
Okay. Some of the initiatives that we have, we feel strongly that they plug into the community. You know, education is the foundation of a community, and if we're going to have our youth be educated here, sure. And then eventually stay here and be a part of our business community, then we have to do a really good job, and our committee is there to assist in that. Some of the initiatives and targets that we've had this year have been things such as dual enrollment has been a big focus. Mentoring our students in elementary school has been a focus. An ongoing initiative is the career fair that's held at Salisbury University. Okay. And then the final one is Education Matters in Wycomico County.
Yeah, my son was actually part of the dual enrollment there for a while when he was at Parkside. Those are opportunities, I should say, that even still to this day, it's hard to think as much as that is talked about and put out there. It's important for us to continue to talk about it because there's still a lot of people that just don't know about all the things that you talked about.
Yes.
The idea of being redundant is absolutely the case in this particular scenario. So in your meetings, give us a typical meeting in terms of bringing the concerns or the challenges, if you will, for getting the word out on how important education is. How do you go about crafting a meeting to talk about education, tying it back into the business community?
Okay. Well, we have a really invested team, membership team on that committee. We have, of course, Ernie Colburn from the Chamber. We have Melody Carter, those two lead our committee, and then Ray Hoy from Warwick, Robbie Sheehan from SU, myself, Jenny Pastasak also comes, and occasionally Brad Gillis will stop in. But we typically meet on the second Wednesday of the month at 8 a.m. and from 8 to 8:30 as that team, that membership team, we discuss different issues, old business, new business, and then at 8:30 we give other people from the community or other chamber members the opportunity to come in and do presentations and discuss various education issues that they might have that we might be able to assist with.
Well, so now that's an interesting part that I didn't even know happened. Other people from the community. How do you go about finding someone to come in and talk to the committee? Is it just about a concern, or is it an initiative that they're trying to push, or how does that work?
Actually, that's new. Our last meeting was the first time that we had other community and business members. But no, that's okay. Someone from the library came and presented some of the initiatives that they have in place and how they might fold into education. Then we also had a presentation on a gentleman from the business community who wanted to talk about mentoring interns throughout, using some of the public education students in businesses. So that was very informative too. So we have an ideal mix where we're able to talk about new and old business in our beginning of our meeting, and then the community and business partners can come in and discuss.
That's a really cool piece to implement. I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. I'm going to ask you this, and you're going to give me your answer, because I can tell you're a little more than passionate about education.
Very passionate.
But why would it be good for a person to get involved with this network?
Well, this committee, the focus of this committee, again, as I said, is to do anything that we can to promote education in our county. The reason for that, of course, is long-term, so that we have a focus on education. We have an educated constituency, not just for politics, but for the business owners. We'll be providing workers for our business community that are educated, who understand professionalism and have moved through that knowledge framework. But it's really good for our business partners and business community to become involved, because that gives them a better insight on one hand of what do we do in education, what do we do in public education, what do we do in our community colleges, and what do we do in our four-year colleges here in our community. The flip side of that, which is an advantage to us, is they can bring that wealth of knowledge to us. What do they need as business partners, as businessmen and women in our community? What can we do to support them? What kind of new technology, for example, might be coming on that we might need to look at maybe at our CTE? You know, is there a new program that we need to bring on? And you know, you can't just think of that and the next day implement it. There's a long-term process. So if there is something that's up and coming, that's new, that we might be able to assist with, we have to know ahead of time and begin planning and looking for teachers and developing that interest in our students that they might want to do that. Not only at CTE, but also in all the academic arenas. But it's a great partnership because it benefits everybody.
What better place to find out the needs of the business community than the business community? That's,
exactly.
Again, such a simple approach, but why haven't we done it before? It just absolutely makes sense.
It does.
How can people get involved?
They can get involved. They can certainly ask to come to our meetings, but you know, the initiatives that I discussed earlier about dual enrollment, they can spread the word about dual enrollment. And that was a legislation from last year, Senate Bill 740, where our students now have that opportunity, and in fact, the legislation dictates that they get a reduced rate on the college tuition. Now, for non-free and reduced meal students, it's 75%. They pay 90%, and we pay 10%. For free and reduced meal students, they can go for free. And then we pay a portion. The public school system is required to pay a portion of their tuition, which is great, though. It's just a win-win for everybody. So dual enrollment and spreading that word and learning about that is one way. Another way is possibly becoming a mentor to one of our students. One of our initiatives is creating and developing a mentorship for our elementary students, so that as those students go from elementary through high school, they'll have that consistency of a caring adult in their life. So that's another way. The career fair that I mentioned at SU, all of our ninth graders go there, and they have the opportunity to see what businesses are available so if there's business people who have not previously been a part of the career fair, it would be a wonderful opportunity for them to do that.
Fantastic.
One more initiative that has been a big initiative for us is Education Matters in Wycomico County. It's where we have asked our business community to come in and shadow either a teacher or an administrator for half a day, or even a full day if they wanted to. Now, Robbie and Jenny did it this year. They kind of piloted, and they were the pioneers for that, and they're going to actually talk about that at the chamber luncheon in July. But we are encouraging, when we do that initiative again, that our business members of the community and our elected officials and anybody who wants to do that will come in and see what's happening in the public education arena, help us promote education, and also make suggestions to us on how we can improve. So it's a win-win opportunity.
Well, I don't think anyone can ever doubt, if they did doubt, that the Education Network just sits around and talks about education.
No.
A lot of stuff going on. Thanks for coming in and sharing with us, Cathy.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here anytime.
We'd like to give you another opportunity to take a look at the upcoming calendar for the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome back to Chamber Chat. Joining us now is, I guess we would call you a friend to the program now, Dr. Memo Diriker of Beacon. Welcome back to the program.
My pleasure to be back here.
What brings you back this time?
Well, Tony, if you'll recall, last time I was here at the studio, we were talking about the various strategic plan changes and organizational structure changes we were doing. We're still in the 2-year implementation phase of the new strategies of the Chamber. We have made fairly significant changes to our organizational structure at the volunteer side. Now we're looking at the in-house side, the staff component of it, because as you know, we have great ambition to become as relevant as possible to our membership. We have to have that impact component. And to be able to do that, we have been going towards fewer but higher quality events and activities. And we've seen all kinds of success stories. Our advocacy division is at the table, at every important table, when policy issues are being discussed that have implications for our businesses. Our membership is growing. Our Business and Economic Development division is innovative. They're energetic. Our young professionals are coming online. Our relationship with our Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce Foundation is improving on every day to ever greater heights. But what we are having a little bit of a difficulty looking into the future is succession planning in the leadership, in the paid staff leadership component. We are very, very fortunate to have Ernie there as our CEO, but we don't have that succession plan in place yet. So since our last conversation, the executive committee of the board has taken, with the blessing of our board, some fairly significant steps to build that succession planning in our organizational structure. We are now currently working towards the creation of a chief operating officer position, who would become the chief executive officer in waiting should the executive officer retire, move to another job, whatever. So that way we will not have a stop in activities, any kind of a bump in the activities. It would be a smooth transition. Also, the CEO position has been designed to be the ambassador of the Chamber. This is the individual who needs to be out meeting with businesses, meeting with members, meeting with potential members, but more importantly, meeting with decision makers throughout the Eastern Shore region to represent our Salisbury area business community, look after our best interests. So every minute our CEO spends in-house is a minute our CEO is not spending doing the things, that ambassadorial policy type things we want him to do. So the creation of the COO position is going to enable our CEO to have somebody in-house at the Chamber building taking care of day-to-day operations of the Chamber.
Sure.
So this is a necessary thing. 2 years ago when we made the new strategic plan a reality, we knew this was coming.
Sure.
We now have the ability, the wherewithal to be able to pull this together. So look for the creation of that position, and as soon as the job description is created, as soon as the board approves all the different bits and pieces of it, we will recruit for that position and bring that person on board and train them to become the future CEO.
I almost want to say that again. But let's back up to 2 years ago. Fill the viewers in. I know we've talked about it several times, in one form or fashion on this program. Why all this change?
Well, when you look at any organization, not just the Chamber, but any organization that has had a 50-plus year history, certain things happen organically, certain things are done on an annual basis because it's always been done that way. So we took a point in time 2 years ago, actually 3 years ago, as we were looking at our reaccreditation, and we did a self-study for the purpose of our Chamber's reaccreditation. At that point, with the help of the U.S. Chamber giving us feedback, we realized that there are certain things we could be doing better. So we took a second look at ourselves. We said, let's launch a strategic planning process. We brought in an outside moderator to help us, facilitator to help us understand where we were, where we wanted to be, and how would we get from where we were to where we wanted to be. Right. And where we wanted to be was to have more impact, have better representation of the business community's interests throughout our society, have more relevance, be of more service to our businesses, and make the Salisbury area a better place to live. So those goals became our driving strategies. To be able to accomplish our driving strategies, we had to create an implementation plan. You don't implement anything without people. Sure. So we looked at the people power we had, both the paid and the volunteer, the board members, the network members, the division vice presidents, and we said, how do we deploy this wonderful human resource in the best possible way to get to that destination, to that desired place we want to be the best chamber we can be for our members, to be the best chamber we can be for our community.
Sure.
To be able to do that, we made those organizational structure changes within the volunteer ranks. We created a new CEO position, elevated our former executive director, Ernie, to a CEO position, gave him more responsibility, more authority, and the board became more of a supportive policy-making type organizations. We reduced hundreds and hundreds of meetings we were having a year to a more manageable but more impactful number of meetings. We upped the quality. We represented the chamber in a lot of public policy decision-making forums with the county council, with the city council, with the mayor, with the county executive, even with the state, with our elected officials. So we became a more impactful, more relevant organization because of all those driving strategies that we had arrived at. Now we're taking it to the next level. In fact, tomorrow, of course, by the time that your viewers are watching this, tomorrow's a different concept, but tomorrow we will be meeting to revisit our strategic plan. Now that we've been implementing it for 2 years, we're going to take a look at how well have we done on our plan to get from point A to B. Are we on the right track? Do we need to make any adjustments? And with that in mind, we're going to continue to improve the organization. We're not bashful about this. We are a four-star accredited chamber, the only one in the state of Maryland, but we want to be a five-star accredited chamber. Five-star means just not another star. It means that we are better for our members,
Right.
We are better for our community, and the community is better for having us there. So it is a measurement of an actual goal that we want to accomplish.
Well, it's the Heisenberg principle of inspect what you expect.
Exactly.
So that's good. And going back to becoming more relevant to the members and potential members, I have had people contact me personally and join the chamber because of activities that they saw the chamber doing.
Exactly.
That was the only reason, because it was relevant to those
Well, we are the
individuals.
voice of the membership.
Yeah.
And members one at a time might not have a strong enough voice, but together with the spokesperson of the chamber, we are a powerful voice.
Sure.
We represent our community, we represent our business community. And when we represent them and when we seek better outcomes for our citizens, for our employers, for our employees, everybody benefits, everything gets better. So that goal of continuous improvement is not just for the chamber, but it's also for our members and the community we live in.
Sure. All right, so we've done all this cool stuff. It's been a smooth ride the entire way. There's been no stumbling blocks, or have there been stumbling blocks? And
Well,
have
I
there
wouldn't
been
call them
challenges?
stumbling blocks. There were a couple of pleasant surprises.
Okay.
For example, we always had very high hopes for our young professionals, but they are exceeding our greatest hopes for them. They are energetic, enthusiastic, they're full of ideas, they're innovative, and they're coming and helping us.
Mm-hmm.
We had been a little bit distant with our affiliated Salisbury Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Now we're beginning to work together much better. Our Business and Economic Development Division is doing wonders. Sure. First under your leader, now under the leadership of Kevin and Chris. They are doing wonders in terms of reaching out to the different economic activity sectors throughout us. The only hiccup we've always had was the CEO issue, the succession planning, and the current organizational structure of the paid staff. Mm-hmm. And we're going through that particular transition. And so far, I think we're on a good track. And the feedback we're getting, as you said, is very positive. Our recruiting numbers are doing better, so that tells us people want to be part of the chamber. And when something needs to be done, people are reaching out to us and telling us, please take care of this. You know, we made the decision to discontinue our print journal, and there was a question mark in everybody's mind, what was that going to do? Well, two things happened. One, we didn't miss a beat. Still, the message is getting out. In fact, it's getting out in a more timely manner when it happens, immediately after it happens. And more importantly, it is not a cost burden to us. It's actually a huge revenue generator now, which enables us to do more things for our members.
Sure.
So it's a win-win-win situation. No change comes in without headaches. There have been headaches, but by and large, the chamber board, the executive committee of the board, and the various network chairs have been wonderful in understanding the strategic directions and implementing what needs to be done.
Dr. Diriker, It's always a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks for coming and updating us, and maybe we'll have you back before your term ends to update us one more time.
Yeah, I hear there's a very good president coming in after me.
Who would that be?
I think it's somebody called Tony Nichols.
Thanks for joining us again, Dr. Diriker.
My pleasure.
Well, that rounds out this edition of Chamber Chat. If you have any questions or comments about this edition of Chamber Chat or previous editions of Chamber Chat, we encourage you to visit PAC-14's website and utilize their on-demand feature, or you can visit the Chamber's website at salisburyarea.com. If you have any questions or comments about this edition, or you'd like to see specific topics discussed on future editions of Chamber Chat, we'd also encourage you to contact the Chamber of Commerce. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of Chamber Chat. My name's Tony Nichols, your host, encouraging you to make a difference.